Good morning once again, brethren. I think I need to finish the lesson quickly because I'll be running out of English. Last time, as Pastor was mentioned, the lesson was all about total sacrifice equals total satisfaction. We get the text in Romans chapter 12, verse 1. In continuation to that chapter in Romans, we'll be looking today at verse 2. So please turn with me and open your Bible in the book of Romans, chapter 12. And we'll be reading verse 2. Just for the sake of time, just follow me as I read the verse. Romans chapter 12, verse 2. It says here, "And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is good, and acceptable, and perfect will of God." Today's topic, lesson number 2, is entitled "The Transformation of a Believer." The moment that we become a Christian, salvation is instant.
Amen.
Amen?
Amen.
When we accepted the Lord Jesus Christ as our personal Savior, instantly we are already saved. And that's what 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17 says, that we become a new creature. And the old things has passed. Behold, all things become new. Old thing has passed. Pag sinabing pass away. Namatay na. Di ba? Old things has passed away. What are those old things? Physically, the same pa rin yung Brother Armand na nakikita natin physically. Siya pa rin si Sister Jean physically. Ano yung naging new? Those old natures already pass away. The old nature are old thoughts, the old principles, and the old practices that we have already pass away. And behold, all things become new. That is, not only that we have a new name that is written in heaven, not only that we were transformed spiritually from spiritual dead and made alive, spiritually alive through Christ, but also we have a new heart and a new creator. Before we continue, let us just have a short prayer. Father in heaven, Lord, we thank you for this morning you have given to us. Once again, Lord, as we study your word, we ask your Lord, we ask your Holy Spirit, O God, to open our hearts, open our minds, and please give us wisdom to understand your word today. Lord, use me as your servant, but may your name only be glorified and magnified in the midst of us right now. Thank you for everything. This is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. So we became a new creature. Physically, luma pa rin yung flesh natin. But deep inside, we became a new creature. In Romans chapter 6, verse 4, it says in there, "Therefore we are buried with Him by baptism into death, that like as Christ was raised up from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we also should walk in newness of life." So we must have a transformed heart, a new nature, a nature that desires to walk according to the will of God and to the ways that God wants us to walk with. In the text that we have read in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, I'd like to share to you two very important word in here. We can look at the word conform. The word conform appears only 2 times in the Bible. It came from the Greek word suschematizo, which means to fashion like, or to fashion self according, or to the same pattern. Like, kung sa Tagalog, parang sumusunod ka sa uso, o nakikisunod sa uso, o nakikisunod sa agos ng buhay. But in our text, it mentioned in there, be not conformed. It means huwag tayong makiayon sa pamamaraan ng mundo. And the second word in here was, in that verse, was the word transform. The word transform came from the Greek word metamorpho, or metamorphose, from which the English word metamorphosis came from, meaning to change, to transform, or to transfigure. And this word appears 4 times in the Bible. At the moment of salvation, God begins the work of sanctification in our lives. And as He does His work in our hearts and minds, the devil will try to block it. Or the devil wants to hinder our spiritual growth. And he will do everything in order for us not to walk according to the ways of God, or to hinder us, or to take us out of course into the path that God wants us to walk with. And these changes, this is the process of transformation of a believer. So, nasabi natin kanina, salvation is instant. But that yung nature natin nandun pa rin. We can still commit sin, and we can still make mistakes. But after salvation, God wants us to be transformed and not to be conformed with the world.
Amen.
We must understand that the process of transformation, and so we must be committed in allowing God to conform us into His own image. Like we are like a mirror in which it reflects the image of God through our attitude, through the way we talk, the way we live, our lifestyle, and most especially in our testimony. So there are 3 things that we can learn from this verse that we read in Romans chapter 12, verse 2. The first one is transformation is a process. Transformation is a process. Growing spiritually is a continuous process. We are always in the process of being transformed. And when will be this transformation stop? When we will meet our Creator. It might be, if you are here during the second coming, if you are still alive, that will be. But when we meet our Creator, we will receive, we will be, when Jesus will come back, we will be receiving our glorified body. Wala na po yung totally na wala na yung dati natin na mahinang flesh. So transformation is a process. Are you aware with the life cycle of a butterfly? From egg to pupa to caterpillar to larva to siguro absent din kayo nung dinidiscuss ito kasi oo lang kayo ng oo, mali-mali na yata yung sinasabi ko. But anyway, from egg, and it will become a pupa, and then larva, the larva will be inside the cocoon. And then once the larva came out, it will be a frog. It will be a butterfly. There was a story about a little boy who was very fascinated with a butterfly. And he is trying to observe how a butterfly was formed. He watched a butterfly lay an egg, and that egg hatched and became a caterpillar. This caterpillar, of course, it will feed on the leaves. And along the process, this caterpillar formed a cocoon in which it went inside. As this young boy was waiting for this stage of the caterpillar to come out in the cocoon, there was a time when he noticed that what's inside is started to coming out of from the cocoon. And he noticed that this butterfly is struggling to come out in the cocoon. Day by day, he's observing these things that is happening in the cocoon, and finally he decided to help that butterfly to come out from the cocoon. So what he did, he took a mirror, he made a small cut on the cocoon, and easily that butterfly came out from the cocoon. This young boy is expecting that as soon as the butterfly came out from the cocoon, the butterfly should fly. But what he saw was a body, it's not a slender, and a shriveled wings. So he waited for the butterfly to fly. But the butterfly never fly. And so the boy was very curious. He asked his mother. He said, Mommy, what happened? And the mother explained to her that in order for this butterfly to fly, he may go through a painful process in which, as the pupa emerged from the cocoon, it squeezes its body, so that the excess liquid on its body will be forced out. And in that process, the butterfly undergoes a painful process. It is we call it metamorphosis, the transformation from pupa to a butterfly. So, this cocoon is squeezing the fluid out of the body into its wings. Without that struggle, without that squeezing, the butterfly would never fly. The boy's intention to help the pupa to come out in the cocoon might be good, but that butterfly never flew because of that good intention. Sometimes we go through this painful process of struggle or trial in our lives as God allows us to go through the process of transformation. Sometimes there are situations in our lives that we may fail. But don't forget, brethren, that failure are not built to tear us down or to break us, but they are designed by God to build us.
Amen.
We struggle, we experience painful things in our lives, but as Romans 8:28 says, all things work for good lahat ng mga nagmamahal sa Panginoon. So transformation is a process. There may be failure, we might be experiencing some detours, some bumpy roads, maybe mga lubak sa ating buhay. But consider the following tips for avoiding discouragement as we go through transformation in life. Don't ever quit. There will be times that we will be frustrated because of a lot of things and even our stubborn habit. But don't quit. Sinasabi nila yung mga nag-quit daw ay mahina ang loob. Do not be bothered by your own lack of progress. Trust in God to do His work. In Philippians chapter 1 verse 16, it says in there, being confident of this very thing, that which He had begun a good work in you, will perform it until the day of Christ. Or in other words, He who began the good work in us is faithful to complete it until the day of Christ. So don't ever quit. But do you know that quitting is also good? Maganda rin yung mag-quit eh. Kailan ba? But don't quit in your spiritual walk with God. But quitting is good only if you are quitting from your old sinful ways.
Amen.
This is the good side of quitting. You quit doing from your old sinful ways. So don't quit. If you are discouraged, don't quit. As we go through the process of transformation, we will be encountering a lot of obstacles in our lives. Don't quit. Second thing is, don't be ever satisfied. Meron po yung kasabihan na sabi nila, don't rest on your laurel. You know, in the early times of the Olympics, they don't have gold medals. What they are giving once you are the winner, emerge as the winner, is a crown of laurel leaves. Hindi ito yung pinangluluto ni Brother Roy ng adobo. It's a laurel leaves. Crown yun. So that's where this word, don't rest on your laurel, means. Ang sabi nila, once you got that crown, huwag kang magkumpiyansa na sa susunod na competition ay ikaw pa rin yung mananalo. Don't be satisfied on what you have done, but make further effort so that being a champion, you will continue to be a winner or a champion on your field. One of the most dangerous places in Christian life is the brink of satisfaction. Our tendency is that when we are satisfied, parang okay na, pwede nang matulog, pwede nang paupo-upo na lang dyan. We become lousy or yung parang balewala na kasi nakuha na natin yung gusto natin. You know what God told the Israelite in Hosea chapter 13 verse 6? He says in there, according to their pasture, so were they filled. They were filled and their heart was exalted. Therefore, they have forgotten me. When the Israelites were satisfied, they have forgotten God. Don't be satisfied. We should aim for another, we should aim more in order for us to be transformed and conformed in the image of God. Satisfaction. We need to balance this word, satisfaction. I mean, if we achieve something in our spiritual walk with God, we should not be satisfied. I mean, we should not rest on that. we should aim for another higher level of spiritual growth. But what we should learn to be content and satisfied with it. So don't ever be satisfied. Letter C, don't be overwhelmed. The process of transformation is not easy. Trials will always come, and Satan is always there to prevent us or to want us to go back to our sinful ways. With our own strength, we cannot be victorious against Satan. But don't forget, brethren, that we can do all things through whom? Through Christ, which strengtheneth us. It is only by the grace of God that we can be victorious in our spiritual walk. If we are doing it by our own strength, sooner or later, we might be quitting. We will be exhausted. Rely on God. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9, it says, "And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. And so most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me." This is what Paul was saying. The grace of God is sufficient for us. Even in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13, it says in there that there is no temptation that is not common to men, but God is faithful. God is always faithful. He will not allow temptation that will overcome us. But when temptation comes, He will also make a way to escape, so that we may be able to bear it. Our God is faithful. The tempter or Satan, before he can tempt us, must ask first permission from God. Ganon yung ginawa niya kay Job. No temptation is unprecedented. And as others or victorious Christians have conquered it, so we may also, by the strength of God that is in us, we need to rely on the strength of God to face life's trial. But always remember also, brethren, that the pressure of temptation is always accompanied by a corresponding grace of God. We need the grace of God. So transformation is a process. If trials come, don't quit. If you are having one Bible studies now, don't be satisfied. Take another one. If you share the Word of God to one person this week, don't stop on that. Don't be satisfied. Continue doing it. That's what God wants us to do. And if trials will come, don't think that they are too much or too heavy for us to handle. We need to rely on God. Second thing is, transformation is personal. Transformation is personal. Sometimes we want our kids or our children to do something that is good. We want them to transform or to act better. But the only way that we can do that is to give them advice, to guide them. But the transformation itself is being done by them. In the first chapter, in the first 11th chapter of Romans, it gives us the knowledge how we are saved, how we are being sanctified, and how we are freed from the law. But in chapter 12, it gives us instruction for a personalized spiritual change in our heart. Going back to our text, it says in there, "And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is good what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Transformation is personal. So you should make it as your sacred decision. You need to settle it in your heart, that decision. Make it a personal decision. We can wish our children to change from good to better, from better to best. But don't forget that we should also wish a transformation from ourselves. We should make this decision. In the Old Testament times, what was offered was an animal. These were the offerings to God during the Old Testament times. Animal was offered for the Lord as a sacrificial offering. But nowadays, in this particular chapter of Romans, we are told to present our lives as an offering to the Lord. In the Old Testament times, before they can offer an animal, they need to kill it. So that offering is a dead animal. But when it comes to in this particular verse, Romans chapter 12 verse 2, it says that we should offer our body a living sacrifice.
Amen.
Holy and acceptable before God. In Romans chapter 12 verse 1. And how can we offer our body as a living sacrifice to the Lord? If day by day we are living our lives under the influence of sin. Romans chapter 12 verse 2 give us how we should not conform to the ways of this world, but we should be transformed by the renewing of our mind, that we may prove what is good and acceptable and the perfect will of God. So transformation is personal. Make it a personal decision. It should also be our steadfast decision. Our decision should not waver with circumstances. It should not depend on circumstances. It should not depend on our feeling. We should not rely on our feeling for our transformation, that when we feel good, we are ready to be transformed. Our decision should not be wavered with circumstances. Let the trails or the things that comes in our lives transform us and brings us closer to the Lord. In Jeremiah chapter 18 verses 1 to 6, it says in there that God is our potter. If you decide to submit to make your lives as a clay, then the clay has no right to be transformed according to what he likes. The clay should be transformed according to the desire of the potter. Our potter is God. So it is a steadfast decision. And transformation, while you are making a decision to be transformed, you are making a secure decision. It's a deal. It's a done deal. The offering in the Old Testament was an animal, and yearly they are offering animal. But in here it said in this chapter of Romans, chapter 12 verse 1, it says that we offer our body. The offering given to the Lord is never meant to be taken back. Our bodies offered as a living sacrifice to the Lord should never be taken back. Once you offered your body to honor the Lord, to serve Him as your living sacrifice, as your offering to the Lord, you should not take it back. Transformation is personal. And lastly, transformation is practical. As we mentioned in the first point of our lesson, transformation is a process. While salvation is instant, we should note that transformation is a dynamic process. It is a continuous process. And while we are being transformed, it involves specific steps we can take to encourage the process of sanctification. Ito po yung we are being changed from glory to glory until the day of Christ. The primary practical step of spiritual transformation is to be renewed in our spirit of our mind. Our body, once we become a Christian, remains the same. The flesh remains the same. What is being renewed or transformed is our mind and our desires. Yun po yung nababago. So, there are practical ways paano matratransform yung spirit of our mind. Letter A is, get the old out. That old sinful nature, we should put it off. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 22, it says in here, that ye put off concerning the former conversation, the old man which corrupt according to the deceitful lust. That old man, that sinful nature, siya yung, kaya nakakagawa pa rin tayo ng mga kasalanan after becoming a Christian. Kasi andun pa rin sa likod natin yung parang pilit na sinusunggaban na tayo ng ating sinful nature. But we should put off that old man. In Colossians chapter 3 verse 8, it says in there, but now you also put off all this. We should get the old out. What are those things? Anger, wrath, malice, blasphemy, filthy communication out of your mind. In other words, we should put away all our old sinful habits, our old thought patterns, and our old destructive relationship. We can do this by confessing our sin to the Lord and forsaking it. Hebrews chapter 9 verse 18. So, get the old out. Ito po'y hindi siya abrupt na lahat-lahat na lang ay nawala. That's why we call it transformation is a process. One day, one step at a time. Get the old out. Letter B, put the new in. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 24 says, and that ye put on the new man, which after God is created in the righteousness and true holiness. Also, you can add some verses in Colossians chapter 3 verse 10 and Colossians chapter 3 verses 12 to 15. You can read a lot of things in which what are the things that we should put into that new man or into that new creature. In Colossians chapter 3 verse 10 it says in here, and have put on the new man, which is renewed in knowledge after the image of him that created him. Replace the old thoughts with new ones that pleases the Lord. Philippians chapter 4 verse 8. Finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are honest, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things that are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think about such things. Putting the new things that God has one to heaven. And lastly, guard what goes in. Kung ano yung pumapasok sa atin. You remember in the book of Mark and Luke, when the Pharisees are questioning Jesus, he said in there that it's not what comes in that makes a man unclean, but what comes out. That means what comes in, it may be through action or through your words. But in here, God is, in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 25, the Bible is telling us to guard, to be on guard what goes inside. What are these things that can distract us? The things that we can see. The things that can influence the way we walk, the way we conduct our spiritual walk. Ano-ano yung mga yun? What are those things? We can see in this world, maybe immoral things. The things that we can watch in the television that corrupt our minds, that corrupt the desire of our hearts, that entice us to commit sin. Those are the things that we should guard. So be on guard what you are watching, what you are looking, and whom you are dealing with. Kung ano yung mga pumapasok sa isipan natin, marami po yan. Siguro, one is, while watching television, and which the content of the television is pornography, we should be on guard on that. So, guard what goes in. The transformation of a believer may be a very long, it's not maybe, it's a long process. Hanggang pagdating ni Jesus Christ, we are being transformed and conformed into His likeness. Mahaba yan, mahaba po. So first thing that we learn is transformation is a process. If trials come, don't quit. If you achieve something in your spiritual walk with God, don't be satisfied. Do more something for the glory of God. And when you are in the bumpy roads of life, do not be overwhelmed with trials. The second point was transformation is personal. It is your personal decision. It is your personal secret decision. It is your steadfast decision. And it is a secure decision. And the last one is transformation is practical. You should do it. You should practice it. And there were 3 ways on how we can do it. Get the old out. Yung sinful ways natin, we should take it out. And get the new in. Yung mga bagong bagay that God wants us to have. The character that God wants us to have, we should put in. And lastly, guard what goes in, especially to our minds. Romans chapter 12 verse 2, it says, "And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." To renew our mind, those old things should come out, and we should fill it with new things. The characters that God wants us to have. By the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. In conclusion, joy is only found in the Christian life through the transforming power of the Lord Jesus Christ. What are you going to choose today? Will you choose to be conformed to this world? Or will you choose to be conformed to the Lord? Today, every day, we need to be transformed and be conformed into the image of God. As we walk daily in our spiritual life, keep in mind that we cannot win the battle we are only relying in our own strength. We need only to rely on the strength that God has given us. Let us pray.